Hey besties, welcome back to Kiyoko Talks Podcast. Today's conversation is a little more personal. We're talking about something I've been thinking about for a while. Why I choose to build my brand alone. And when I say alone, I don't mean I don't appreciate people who support me. I mean I made the decision to take ownership of my vision, my content, my platform, and the direction I want my brand to go. So yes, this one's a little bit personal. I've decided, if you've been following me for a long time or you've been watching me, I thought about doing this video just off the strength of what I've currently been through or what I've been through already leading up to the podcast. And so I just made the executive decision to just make a video, I guess turn it into a podcast episode and hopefully get you guys' opinion and everything on. So each one is broken up into parts. So the first part one, why I started, why I started alone. When I first started creating, I had a vision in my head. I knew that I wanted my content to feel like I knew the conversations I wanted to have. I knew the community I wanted to create. But sometimes when you bring two people into your vision too early, that vision can become complicated and everyone has an opinion. Everybody has an idea. Everybody wants to do different things, to do things differently. And eventually you can find yourself building something that doesn't even feel like yours anymore. So I decided to step back and ask myself, what do I actually want? And that question changed everything. Yeah, so when I originally started, as you know, when I originally started this, it was called the Quiet Corner. Then I changed it to Kaya Talks, and then now it's now Kiyoko Talks. I started bringing people on because I felt like there was more people. Um, Again, there are so many different podcasts, and again, this is not a video the same in any podcast that these new and upcoming podcast people want to write. But when I started this, I wanted to bring people on that had the same views and the same ideas, and just I wanted it to be I wanted people to be a part of this, especially like the new upcoming people that are just not finding out about Second Life, whether they've been watching TikTok videos or shorts. Mostly, I would say mostly or just Instagram. I wanted to give those people a chance. People that didn't even know about what podcasting truly was. I don't even know what podcasting truly is. Sometimes I just sit down and record videos and just talk to you guys for the most part. But um, I started bringing people in, and people just it didn't align to what I was trying to do or what I wanted to do. Um, as you know, still struggle with mental health. So just taking part where I did that video like 10 days ago. If you go back and watch it, it kind of will give you a storyline of about pretty much about what I went through and why I continue to just keep working by myself. And I'm not saying, eventually I do at times. I wish I had a co-host or, other people, you know, especially it'd be good for TikTok. It'd be good for just all around work, right? But I feel like when you bring people on, especially early on from my experience, everything can change overnight. And proper example, when I did bring a co-host on, she felt like the page wasn't moving fast enough, the videos wasn't coming out fast enough. And me, when you're ready to record, you at least start talking. Don't wait for me, because I'll be distracted with other stuff or different videos and stuff like that. But if you feel like, hey, you want to take over and be like, or if you can record, you can send it to me. I don't think you can send like alongside videos, but if you feel like, hey, you want to record and you want to take lead and take stride, okay, do it. But just communicate with me first. Um, and she felt as though the channel wasn't moving. The channel wasn't we wasn't recording videos fast enough. And then she turned around, started working with the girl, the other co-host that I had potentially brought on. Turned around and now they want to do a podcast. Which again, this is no shade. It was really crazy. Crazy to me. That now all of a sudden they both wanted to do a podcast. Um, which is fine. So part two, building alone doesn't mean being lonely. I want to make I want to make an important distinction. Building alone doesn't mean you have to be lonely. There are different, there's a difference between working independently and having no support system. I can build my brand independently while still appreciating my audience, my community, future collaborations, and people who believe in what I'm creating. I'm not trying to do everything because I think I'm better than everybody. I'm doing it because I've learned that sometimes you have to become comfortable carrying your own vision. Yeah, so I've been doing this pretty much quite some time. I started now using like in TikTok a little bit more and trying to speak a little bit clearer. YouTube Shorts definitely do help because it does. Again, we're all scrolling on our phones, so it definitely does help. Um, Sometimes I don't even have like a clear direction I want to take. Sometimes I just be penning notes, and so getting things out of the way. Um, and that is the plan. Tuesday and Thursdays is really the podcast, and the podcasting episodes, which I feel like most people look forward to. Mental Health Mondays is a hit or miss because it just depends on the topic that I want to create. On Friday After Dark, it's also something I've tried to open up a little bit more about. Um, But like I said, the plan is also to get rid of videos. So sometimes you might not even see a mental health Monday, but there's another video. Sometimes you might not see a podcast episode, but there are other videos you can watch. The plan this week was to definitely get rid of some of the old content, but since I'm already on the ball, I decided to just make this episode really quick, just to get my perspective, and so that you guys um can watch me do stuff and create more different stuff. So this week I'm trying to get back on schedule. As you know, my schedule has been real wonky lately. Between this week and the following week, I'm hoping that all the videos I have in my not my phone, but all the thumbnails I have in my phone slowly start to disappear, which I'm slowly working on. So again, some video ideas may change. Sometimes I am still working through stuff. So sometimes you might not even get like an episode. Sometimes you might not even get up until Monday. It's just before I really want to dive into a project, I want to try to get rid of other stuff. Um, and then that way I could try to get back on my schedule program. As you know, summer birthday was last yesterday. So by the time you probably see these videos probably be like 3 days out. So keep keep in mind too. As well. For now, let me see. Part three: learning to trust myself. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that I have to have more trust in myself. But there were moments when I questioned my ideas. I wondered if my content was repetitive. I wondered if people were actually interested. I compared my journey to other creators. So that was something I did a lot. Sometimes I feel like my content is repetitive for the most part, especially when I sit back and I think about like all the notes that I have and try to finish stuff and try not to upload weeks out because there might be something I want to talk about, or I might fall on a pay period. I want to do shopping, and so you might guys might get 3 videos, 3 podcast episodes, and one can outshine the other. So I try to do different stuff. I also question sometimes if people are actually even interested in my podcast episodes. I sometimes I question it a lot. Sometimes I did question my own ideas at first. Definitely for the most part, but I feel like that is what I'm continuing to still try to build my brand upon. And hopefully, with the right direction and the right like people behind me, it could pop off the way that I intended it to do. And so with that being said, I sometimes um I had to learn to trust in myself when it comes to making just content over there. Not even just definitely about the podcast itself, but more into the podcast. Like I said, there are so many different areas out there that I do compare my success to others. That's why I try to do TikTok videos or Instagram videos to like lure people in. It has helped sometimes the page it does back up a little bit. Um, like I said, I am encouraged to just keep going and just different things like that. I am starting to use a lot of TikTok a little bit more. Still trying to make friends. I'm still thinking about going live, which I thought about going live this Friday and just taking someone on a little shopping. the shopping spree. Um, and really just, getting to the nitty gritty of things and just trying to be part of wanting more people to be part of the journey, wanting more people to be part of the experience. And again, that's why I think I utilize TikTok a little bit. That's what I think I utilize. Just trying to use social media for what it is. And I don't post on my main page again because I think I'm scared of what other people might think. So that's why I try to separate my real life and second life, into two different directions. Um, two different things. Just because, some of my colleagues that I used to work with, they followed me on there, and I think, um, part of me just thinks I'm a nerd, so a lot of them don't even know what second life is. And maybe I don't know, maybe people just are not interested. Or not even that. I try to do stuff like play different games. I'm trying to make stream about it. I am gonna try to stream 1-2 mil once it fully comes out and play was one of the games I thought about doing. Um, again, the whole process again is trying to trust myself and lead myself into this other chapter again, not trying to compare myself to other different creators, but also um see the light in it too. Again, that was um that's part of the reason why I still continue to try to keep going. It's because I do like what I do. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy every moment of it, every upload and things like that. Um yep. So I try to have fun with this. I try to not make it so serious. Sometimes again, I might not even have the podcast. Sometimes if I feel like I supposed to be podcast, like I still want to get into a lot of things. I fill up my playlist with a lot of different ideas and a lot of different things. I try to fill that up for the most part. And I think with that being said, I try to also expand on not always trying to do second life, not podcast episodes. Again, it's hard. It's hard, especially when you're doing it on solo and things like that. I still definitely want a studio, so I'm thinking about possibly having someone do a studio for me. I don't know. Um, just to yeah. So running a podcast, it definitely makes you have to think within yourself sometimes and really just think about it for the most part. Okay. And sometimes I thought maybe I need more people around me to make this work. But the truth is, sometimes what you need isn't another person. Sometimes you need confidence in yourself. You need to give yourself permission to experiment. You need to make mistakes. You need to change directions. And you need to remember why you started. So that's why I try to change different directions to I also try to also remember why I had started way back when. Um even when I go back to when I first started this. Actually let me go back. Actually, let me see. When was the first ever like podcast episode? Let me see. So the first episode I did was um can't remember. I think it was the first podcast episode I ever did was Your Voice Matter, and that was in December 2nd, 2022. And that's when I really just started trying to take it off for what it is. And I think my highest video was even now, I think my highest video still to the day about the podcast is um let me see. Let me read the title. The friendships/relationships truly matter in second life. And that one garnered view wise, and that was February 18th, 2023. And that garnered over 1,120 112 views, 3 comments, and 4 likes. So I try. I think people still watch it or people still like it from time to time, and that's why I think I still continue to keep promoting and keep trying to do different stuff. Try to talk about different topics and try to change directions too, whether it's sometimes about second life or real life. I try to incorporate those two because again, I play second life for the most part. Um, I also try to go like live on here. I also want to start trying to do like live streams. Try to make it more fun. Um, but I'm also yeah, I also try to make it more fun. I feel like when I play Second Life, I'm not as known as Janae, I'm known as Kiyoko. And I think that's what makes it fun. I think with the right direction I try to put myself in, I think it's a blessing and a curse. A blessing. Definitely a blessing. For the most part. Yep, so sometimes the videos do kind of like Fire After Dark, it still keeps the channel afloat because it bases off into different topics and just different stuff. Part four, the practicality. Social media can make it seem like every successful creator has a huge team. Social media can make it seem like every successful creator has a huge team. Managers, editors, assistants, photographers, publicists, a whole production crew. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a team. But having a team isn't the definition of success. Some people are building businesses, some people are building brands, some people are building communities, and some of us are doing all of that while we learn as we go. There's no correct way to build. So I don't have a team. I record everything by myself. No one records for me. I try to do everything by myself. Now, like I said, there is times where I wish I had people to record for me. I wish I had. There were times where I do wish I had a team, especially like rappers. For the most part, I use chat. Some of them I kind of think of my own. The main reason why I think I kind of started all of this was definitely um I wanted to build a brand, not necessarily a business, but a brand. Business, I felt like it would have been like because you can't really buy nothing from a podcast and then back. But I really wanted to build a brand on here. Outside of everything. Second Life, I still don't know what I wanted to do. I still believe that I wanted to own a strip club. I think a catering business is still what I'm truly thinking about, um, just because is people have fun. People make it for have fun and different stuff like that. Um, I do want to try my first live stream as well, but I don't know. Like I really am thinking about that because on my TikTok currently, yeah. So everything I do kind of on my own. So yeah, I do it kind of do everything on my own. Um, um, yeah. So I definitely try to use the tools that I have. I don't have a really good like. I don't even have a team to be honest. I try to use what I have, which is between Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. This game, I feel like I'm a small creator, but I also don't mind like collaborating with people as well. So that's something I'm still, but I take everything with the grain of salt, definitely. Yeah. So part five. Why I want creative control. For me, creative control matters. I want to decide what conversations happen. I want to decide what my podcast represents. I want to decide what kind of community I create. I want to be able I want to be able to change my mind without needing five people to approve it. And I want to know that when my brand grows, I can look it back and say, I built this from the ground up. Not because I did everything perfectly, because I stayed committed. So which is definitely true. I try to stay committed for the most part on here. When it comes I try to stay committed. Definitely posting shorts and stuff like that. I try to be careful what to upload on it because I know some topics can be really controversial. So I try to also, but then I'm like, that's not what the brand is supposed to be. It's supposed to challenge those uncomfortable conversations where people can have. Um, for the most part, I try to build things from my perspective as being a content creator and doing things, my way. Because again, if you bring a team, you have to have people to But also, that's the part of it. That's what I think what makes me different is just to challenge uncomfortable conversations. I try to, I really want to try to challenge those uncomfortable conversations that most people be afraid to talk about. And so I think that's the most important in the community I want to create. That's definitely important to me. Um, and sometimes if I sleep all day, I be up all night. And so by the time I'm like, I technically go to sleep. It's like 4 in the afternoon. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, and stuff like that. Cool. Part 7. Now let's be honest. I mean, no, sorry. Part 6. The hard part. Now let's be honest. Building alone can be exhausting. You have to motivate yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to come up with ideas. You have to create. You have to edit. You have to promote. And sometimes we're doing all of that while wondering if if anybody even notices that part can hurt. There are days when you want somebody to say, "Don't worry, you got this." But when you build it independently, you learn how to become that person yourself. Um, most definitely. Like I said, it's really just me. And so everything that I come up with, because I also feel like I'm too nocturnal to be up during the day, but it doesn't mean I like working during the day. Sometimes I try to work in the evenings or like later on. But I'm also trying to find a balance between working in the evening and during the day. Trying to also find that balance within itself and finding that balance and trying to get back into what I love doing the most, which is definitely coffee. Um, so that's something I've always tried to keep instilling myself. So I try to um, so I try to instill that within me. Again, trying to experiment with different stuff, trying to go into different clubs and like stuff like that. Like I said, I am starting to thinking about also going live on here as well. It's just you're be nervous about what to talk about. Sometimes when I'm just in here, I really just make sure the things I try to talk about they're not as repetitive. It's not the same thing. Um, so trying to make sure I'm not talking about the same thing. So I try to make sure I'm not like talking about the same, but also having that real life balance as well. Trying to also do stuff in real life and having right now having the sense of control, like having that sense of control, as well navigating this new part of my life where I'm not really working like that. So I'm trying to also build a brand on top of that. Um, trying to build something unique, and I think that's what makes it hard is um yeah, I think building what I have now or trying to utilize what I have now makes up for what it is currently. Um, Part seven, knowing when to let people in. Building alone doesn't mean I'll never work with anyone. Absolutely, collaboration can be beautiful when the right people come along. But now I'm more intentional about who I allow my creative spaces. I don't need people just because I'm afraid of doing things alone. I want people who genuinely understand the vision, people who respect the brand, people who bring something more, people who bring something valuable to the table, people who can collaborate without trying to take over. There's a difference between helping build your vision and trying to replace it with theirs. And so that has happened to me recently. Like I'm not saying I don't want to work with people that stems back from. Again, a lot of things could happen to why me and this person did not continue to work together. I wish we could have, but I think because, and again, I didn't. So my thing is, I don't mind changing the name, but again, it is mine. So I don't also want to change the name. Now I don't mind bringing people on or bringing hosts. I don't mind bringing that. But when I try to change it, people, again, people are afraid to have uncomfortable conversations, or it's like they're waiting on me hand and foot to when they want to record or when they feel like it's not moved fast enough. Like everything is placed on YouTube. It's not like we do. I try to do TikToks and I try to do Instagram reels for the most part. I try to do different stuff. Um, One of the reasons why I feel like I get nervous again about trying to allow people into my career space is because I don't want to also forget why I started this channel, but I also want to allow people to come. Like we can do different stuff and we can talk about different stuff. And again, the whole point of the podcast was definitely challenging and uncomfortable conversations, which I do definitely still want. The part that's the whole niche, right? And that's one of the reasons why I think I continue to still create solo. It's because I still want to challenge those uncomfortable conversations. But again, I don't mind having a co-host or nothing like that. I don't mind, you know, doing things of that nature or doing things of that matter, right? Yeah. So real talk moment. So if you're listening to this and you're building something by yourself right now, I want you to hear this. You're not behind. You don't need a huge team to validate your dream. You don't need everybody to understand what you're creating. And you don't have to rush into partnerships just because you're scared of doing it alone. Yeah, so don't try to rush into partnerships again. Create what you want to create, even if you don't even play Second Life right. Yeah, you can do it. You can make a real life podcast again, but also allow that to also have its allow yourself to just understand why you created it and to begin with. And you don't need a good team to start. To start. Sometimes it's okay to work best by yourself, and that's something I'm learning too, and something I'm still continuing to grow and learn. Take your time, learn your craft, build your foundation, protect your vision. And when the right people come along, you'll know the difference between someone who wants to help you build, and someone who simply wants the access to what you're building. Yeah, so in my experience, I've had people say they wanted to collaborate with me, you know, based off the YouTube channel, right? But collaborations never really fell through. I don't know if it was because my channel is a little bit smaller or they're trying to be my friend because they know that I'm having a YouTube channel. And sometimes I do story times, sometimes I do vlogs, sometimes I do a whole bunch of different things. Each episode is shot on YouTube. It's not like it's really anywhere else. But and I think that's what people get. They see you have a channel and now they think because okay, let's just say they have tropes. You and that person collaborate. You kind of share the views now. Um, and I don't mind. I don't mind helping with people. That's something I've never kind of like taken that away from helping the people. But it also stems from protecting my vision and protecting everything that aligns with my second eye and everything. Trying to consider trying to right. I'm a deal. So I choose to build my brand because I wanted to learn what I was capable of. I wanted to trust my own creativity. I wanted to explain the process, experience the process. And most importantly, I wanted to create something that felt authentically me. Maybe one day my team will grow. Maybe I'll have editors, co-hosts, managers, collaborators, and people helping me take this brand to another level. But wherever that journey takes me, always remember the beginning. The days when I had to believe in the vision before anyone else see you, could see it. So here's your reminder. Start with what you have, build what you know, learn what you don't know, and don't be afraid to build your dream your way. So yeah, utilize what you have. Whether you have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts can help you grow with that. So um yeah, so definitely use what you have. Don't try to buy the biggest laptop, the most expensive laptop, the most expensive mic. Try to utilize what you have, whether you have Instagram, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok does help, especially like because we're always scrolling. Everybody's scrolling, so you definitely wanna um utilize what you have. Um, thank you for spending so much time. Thank you for spending this time with me on Kiyoko Talks Podcast. If this episode connected with you, tell me in the comments. Would you rather build your brand alone or build it with a team, and why? Join the Biscotti Bunch, and come back for more real conversations about creativity, healing, relationship confidence, and the journey becoming who we meant to be. Real stories, real talk, real you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, besties.